David Bowie singing his song Heroes in German called Helden. The reason why I did this is because I just finished watching Jojo Rabbit for the second time in 2 days because I've just gotten it on DVD and Blu-ray, and I watched it last night, and I watched it again tonight. Let's see, there we go. And I love this movie, and has now made its way into my top 10 probably of all-time favorite movies, so I think that works out great. But hey, you know what? Doesn't matter. That song is a big part of that movie, and we're here live on Saturday, February the 22nd, right? 22nd, yep, February the 22nd. 7 days till Leap Day. So we've got a Leap Day this year coming up. So next week is the last week of February. Man, February seems like it's gone by really fast. Usually does go very, very fast. By the way, this is terrible. I wouldn't say terrible, but I'm not a big mango fan. I thought I liked mango, but there's a lot of mango in that tea. I wanted to try something different. So I tried the mango. I got the peach one also. I haven't tried that yet. I'm assuming it's going to be a similar sort of feel to it. And it depends on if my taste buds like the peach flavor. But I'm going to keep with my blueberry, keep with my green tea. And if they get the lemonade iced tea one back in soon, that'll be great as well. But right now, this is satisfactory for now, for today. Always recommend trying something different. And damn, that mango flavor is just going to stick there. But hey, we're here to talk about mangoes. We're talking about episode 337 of Dylan Knows, Home Alone at McDonald's. So obviously, since I'm upstairs, it means that I am either home alone or the family is gone. And that's actually what the case is. This is since my daughter joined the Scouts almost a year now, I think. They do a camping trip every month. So probably once a month, I'm going to try to do one of these shows upstairs because I like the ambiance of upstairs. Yes, I still have my Christmas stuff up. I have no plans on taking it down anytime soon. Christmas tree's still up over there. I'm in no hurry to get it done. I got too much else going on in my life right now. So this is their weekend for camping. So my wife and daughter are camping. And next year at this time, my son will be joining them since he'll be bridging over to Scouts at the end of March. So he'll be a Scout also. And they'll all have just one meeting then, and they're all going to do their events together and stuff like that. So there's going to be a lot more chances for me to be by myself, home alone. Now, I'm home alone by myself because my son also wanted to have a sleepover at a friend's house. Now, I've been uneasy and nervous about this because never met this friend before, and there was going to be another friend there, and I was afraid that there was going to be some sort of bullying or they were going to gang up on him or make fun of him or whatever. It's just fears that I've had that have happened to me and stuff like that I didn't want to happen to my son. So I got a little bit overprotective of it, but in the end I said, fine, you want to do it, we'll do it. And if you want to go home, go home. But he's been with them now for about 4 hours. And the only thing I got back was them saying, can we have your password to the eShop so we can buy Fortnite for him to play? Well, not buy, but you can download Fortnite to our Switch because he has our Switch. So I'm a trusting fella. I gave them our password, but I mean, it's not like it's connected to any of my accounts, and it's also not like if they use my password for my eStore, they'll be able to play the stuff on their Nintendo Switch. So that's why I have no issue giving them the password, even though I don't know them that much. But he lives there about 10 minutes away from here. So he's gone until 1 o'clock. They want me to pick him up at 1 o'clock. And my wife and daughter, probably a little bit 2-hour drive back. So make it to about 11. They might be back in about another hour, maybe 12. They'll make it back because they got to unload and do all this stuff. Because I remember one time when I went to pick them up, it took forever to get them. They had gotten back, they were unloading and doing stuff, and it took forever to get them out of here. So we'll see. So that's why I am by myself till at least 1 p.m. tomorrow. So I got some food. Watch my Jojo Rabbit. I'm going to watch Jojo Rabbit again tomorrow because I promised my daughter I'd let her because I told her she could. I have no problem with her seeing it. I think she'll enjoy it. And you all should go see it too. So we'll see. But I've already wasted 5 minutes of time here, and we got a lot of stuff going on. So what do we got going on? We got some McDonald's news. That's why it's called Home Alone McDonald's. I got like 1, 2, 3, 4 stories about McDonald's this week alone, which is weird. Toy Fair is this week up in New York City, I believe. So some Funko Pop stuff has been introduced, as have interesting action figure set series. There's some other interesting stuff going on. Nothing really. Maybe one stupid thing going on, but people. But that's it. Some animal stuff. Big shakeup at DC Comics. Some sequels in the news. Something is occurring in Maryland that has not happened in 150 years, which I'll talk to you about in a little bit. A movie by the name of Freaky Friday the 13th. Let me tell you a little bit about what that's going to be about. New ice cream flavors, blackout curtains, Krispy Kreme back in the news again, Reese's peanut butter cups in the news, some Mars stuff is going on, Walking Dead, interesting things, a lot of animal stuff, some death. The Mississippi is overflowing, hasn't done that in a while. Scientists have proven something that I've been screaming about for years as being correct. And so all kinds of interesting stuff going on. So without further ado, and some local news as well. And Steven Spielberg's daughter has some interesting career news. So we're going to find out about that. So first and foremost, animal story. Bees work together to open a container of honey. Now there was a videotape, someone video camera, I guess. They had a honey pot out, or honey, plastic honey jar out on a table or something like that. And, they weren't paying much attention to it. They noticed that there was one bee on it, and then another one, and another one. And they started watching it. It was like 4 or 5 bees started showing up. Then they started doing some weird things. So I pulled out his camera. For a while, animals seem to be evolving into something else, which if we aren't careful, we better watch out for. Another bee story, which I just saw, which is connected to that as well. A group of firefighters and police were going on a call about a bee sting victim. So obviously, if someone who's allergic to bees got stung by a bee, and so the police and fire got there to take care of them, and they got attacked by 40,000 Africanized bees. About 9 people have been injured due to this, I believe, and it's insane that something like that could happen. But bee allergies are nothing to shake your nose at or something like that. It was Pokemon Community Day today. Reinhorn did pretty good. I ran my wife's account, so she's caving, which is the camping that they're doing this week. They're caving out in Western Maryland. Caught her 7 shinies. I caught 9, so had a good day about that. So that's pretty interesting about that. Speaking of Pokemon Go, and this is the beginning of our McDonald's stories. McDonald's has become a sponsor for Pokemon Go. Starbucks is already a sponsor. Boost Mobile was for a while, but they have now since dropped out. McDonald's has become a sponsor, which means down the line, maybe not right now, but in a little bit, a lot of McDonald's in the areas are going to become Pokestops, which are good for Pokemon Go players. And so they'll be sponsored gyms like that. Everyone knows that I'm a Yankee Candle freak. My wife got me 4 of them for Valentine's Day, which was last weekend. And I still want to go and get some more. I need to get some more of our scent plugs that we have. No, it's over that way. Can't see it. My back is to it. We got one over there, and we got one in the bathroom over there. We got one upstairs. We got 2 upstairs. We got 1 downstairs. So we got a bunch of these little things. I need to get some more of those. But McDonald's is getting into the candle business. They're going to be selling a 6-pack of candles that smell like a quarter pounder. The smells will be ketchup, pickles, cheese, onion, and beef. So actually, that's only 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's only 5. instead of 6-pack. So maybe they'll add a second one in there. Maybe the bun will be another one. Bread will be a cent. I'm not exactly sure what it would be. But that's interesting, particularly if you're selling it as the set and you light them all together, then it will smell like a quarter pounder. Now, that's something interesting about Yankee Candle. We were there last weekend, I guess, Noah and I, when he got his haircut. And one of the things, that was 2 weekends ago, one of the things that the guy who was at the Yankee Candle we went to, he showed us a neat little trick where, if you go to Yankee Candle and you want to smell what a scent smells like, you grab the candle and you pop off the top and you smell the inside of the top, because that's where the scent is. And so you get an idea of what the scent will be when you light the candle. Well, this guy, I'd never seen this or done this before. This guy grabbed 2 different ones, 2 different scents that said, these might smell pretty good together. Took the tops off of both of them, rubbed them together, and then cracked it open so you would smell it. And you would get both smells in your nostril as a mix, so that if you decide you wanted to run, if you like the smell of both of them running together, you could run both of them at the same time. So my son got all crazy. He was doing that all over the place, so he did a really good job about that. But the interesting thing is, if you want to, it comes in a 6-pack, which is good. So that way you can get all the flavors or all the scents, and you can light them all at the same time, and then your house will smell like a McDonald's quarter pounder. Never thought I'd say that, but that's the case. Now Valentine's Day is over. The next big holiday is St. Patrick's Day. March 17th, for those who don't know. I've got my own St. Patrick's Day playlist, which I'll be starting to play on March 1st, which is a Sunday. Next Sunday, actually. Damn, March 1st is next Sunday. So I'll be playing that next Sunday. So with that coming, you know what that means. That means McDonald's is releasing their Shamrock Shake, their annual green shake that's creme de menthe and mint chocolate ice cream mixed together to give you that sort of minty, green sort of Shamrock Shake thing. So that's out and about now. So if you're a fan of the Shamrock Shake, which there's whole Facebook groups just about the Shamrock Shake. Go ahead and get them if you enjoy it. Real quick, before I get to my last McDonald's story, that reminded me, this upcoming Tuesday is Fat Tuesday, or Mardi Gras as it is, which is the last day before Lent. Lent is on Wednesday, which means next Wednesday is Ash Wednesday, which is the beginning of Lent, which is the 40 days before Easter. So Easter will be rolling in really soon. March 8th is rolling up. That's when we turn the clocks ahead an hour. So you may have noticed it's getting light out now during the mornings now a little bit more. Well, this is going to be even more brightness when you are getting up and leaving for work. So you got that coming up as well. So Lent means that most Catholics have to give up something for Lent. I might skip that this year. We'll see. I'm not sure if there's really anything that I want to give up, but that's the whole point, is you need to give up something that you like. And I've done a whole bunch of things. I've given up swearing. I've given up chocolate. I've given up soda. I think those are the only ones that I've done. But you're supposed to give something that you enjoy for 40 days. You're also not allowed to eat meat on Fridays. So that means for the next, I don't know, let's see, how many Fridays is it till Good Friday? 1, 5, 7, like next 7 Fridays. You won't be able to have meat on Friday. So that means we will have cheese pizza for our dinner on Fridays. And that also means that I have to do peanut butter and jelly for lunch on Fridays as well. So now I'm going to check with my daughter to see if that means, do you want me to not make ham for you on Friday? So she has a ham and cheese sandwich with her lunch. So there's a possibility we'll do that. So let's go. So the last thing about McDonald's is demonic sounds have been heard at a McDonald's in Colorado. And normally when you hear about ghost sightings and stuff like that, you think about old houses or graveyards or churches or old jail cells that are abandoned, or abandoned buildings in general, or hospitals, or just crazy, weird things where weird things happen or where hugely violent things happen, which is generally a sign that there is a ghostly presence in the area. To have a situation where a fast food restaurant like McDonald's is experiencing paranormal activity is kind of unique in the fact that it's not really discussed too much out in the world or out in the world of supernatural or paranormal escapades. So that's kind of an interesting thing that that could be anything. It could be the land that they built the McDonald's on. Something terrible could have happened. Maybe something bad did happen to McDonald's. I don't know. But that's what that's kind of a neat little story about that as well. So that is it for a McDonald's thing. Now for their rival Burger King. Burger King's in the news also. Burger King is testing a sandwich that is nothing but French fries. So they had pictures of it. It removes the hamburger and the lettuce, tomato, pickles, onions, whatever, and just French fries and ketchup on that. Could be interesting, but if that's the only thing you're going to eat instead of beef and French fries, because I know there's some people who put the French fries on their sandwich with that. I mean, I've done it before too. Everybody's done it before too. But the fact that this sandwich is nothing but French fries is interesting and unique, and we'll see what happens. But it just seems kind of weird. All right. A guy keeps ordering plastic bags from Amazon, and he keeps getting granola. It doesn't know if there's some sort of crossed wire or whatever, or they're in the wrong, but he just wants to order just general plastic bags for whatever reason. I don't know. So he orders them through Amazon, and then every time he orders them, he gets cases of granola. So I don't know if they've got the wires crossed or the description is wrong on the Amazon description. I don't know, but it's a unique, interesting story as well. Saw Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker, the final Star Wars movie. I'm just going to give a real brief review of it. It was okay. I haven't been as obsessed with Star Wars. This most recent trilogy has been okay. I liked, Rey, Finn, and Oscar Isaac's character, Poe. I like the three of them, and I like seeing the old crew come back. But the Kylo Ren was just kind of to me. The general storylines of all three of this trilogy was just sort of meh. I mean, entertaining, stuff like that, but it's not a type of Force Awakens or The Last Jedi. It's not one of those things where, there'll be times like, I want to watch Star Wars, or I want to watch Empire Strikes Back, or I want to watch Return of the Jedi. And I don't even do that with the prequels either. Prequels are lousy also. Again, I will defend the Phantom Menace. I think it's better than a lot of people think it is, and they're all put off because of Jar Jar. But if you look down deeper, it's actually not a bad film. Attack of the Clones is terrible, and Revenge of the Sith is okay. I've only seen it once, and I haven't gone back to watch it again. Sometime when Noelle and I have our movie marathons again, I promised her I would let her watch it since it was PG-13. So I'll be able to watch it again and see. But there's just certain things I remember about it, which I sort of like, this is kind of dumb. So, I mean, it's an enjoyable trilogy, but there's just something about it that I was not a big fan of. The third one wraps up stuff, and it was a little off-putting where, they made the big deal about the Emperor coming back, and then they don't explain how. I think that they explain away by lying, saying the Emperor has returned somehow, and they don't explain how. And then you hear somebody say, well, clones and stuff like that, but they don't exactly say how it happens. And while the idea that the Emperor has to take on the good guys is an interesting one. But again, it all comes down to, a simple weakness for the bad guys, which, you think after destruction of all your Death Stars and planet killers and stuff like that, you still would figure a way to create a huge weapon without any weaknesses, because that eventually the rebels figure out how to do it. But it just... I don't know. It was okay. It was not brain blowing. I mean, it's the third movie I've seen this year, and yeah, and it's the third movie. The Jojo Rabbit is first, 1917 is second, and the Rise of Skywalker is third. I think those are the only three movies I've seen this year. So okay, I definitely will pick up the Blu-ray when it comes out. I believe it's the 31st of March. I'll pick it up to finish the trilogy set, and maybe I'll revisit it a little bit because it was okay. As I said, I enjoyed Finn, Rey, and Poe. I wish they would have had maybe a better script and their own story that had no connections to the other Star Wars stuff. I mean, it's great to see Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford, and then in this one you see old Nine Nub, and Lando Calrissian shows up, and supposedly Wedge is in there. I think there was an old dude I saw. I was pretty sure probably was Wedge. And then they sort of hinted that the woman that helped out the resistance on another planet turns out to be Lando's daughter, but they don't actually come out and say it. They just sort of do a little bit of that type of thing. And Kylo Ren's turn, spoiler alert, from bad to good just seems sort of forced. I mean, it was nice that it was the reasoning for it was Carrie Fisher's Leia passing away caused him to shift because he felt his mother passing away, and he had killed his father earlier, and that sort of changed him up a little bit. And then to get visited by Harrison Ford, which was a surprise to me because I hadn't been reading any of the spoilers. I didn't know he was going to be in it, and he did a quick scene with him to bring it full circle. So he had all three of them together. Well, not all together, but all three of the main three were in this movie, even though they weren't together. As Luke shows up as a Force ghost. And then there was a neat scene where when Rey gets the one true Jedi lightsaber and hears the voices of all the Jedis that we've known about from Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, both Obi-Wans, Ewan McGregor and Alec Guinness, through the Clone Wars ones with Anakin from, also Anakin was in there, is also from the prequels. His voice showed up there. But then you get into the Clone Wars, you get Ahsoka Tano, the actress who plays her voice came through there, and Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character from Rebels, he showed up as well with his voice in there as well. And then you have Luke and Leia and everyone else, all the other Jedi, Yoda, not Baby Yoda, regular Yoda, had all their voices coming through and giving her hope and stuff like that she's the one true Jedi that was able to help her defeat the evilness. But just I don't know, it was okay. Again, when I rewatch it eventually, maybe I'll come to maybe when I watch all three of them again, I'll come to another determination. But right now, it really does not. There is nothing that really wants me to go out and say, I want to watch these three again now. I've got a whole ton of other movies I'd rather watch before I watch these three movies again. So, all in all, kind of a weak ending to it. But what can you do? Toy Fair is this week, where all the toy companies come out and show you their upcoming products, stuff like that. Not a lot. I don't really follow a lot of other toy stuff, so there was probably a whole bunch of other stuff that was announced that I don't have on here, but these are just things that interested me. I'm a Funko Pop guy, so I have all the new Funko Pops coming here. But the big news real quick is the real Ghostbusters. This is the Ghostbusters 35th anniversary. Yeah, because my 25th college reunion is this year, and I graduated in 95, so that's 10 more years to 85 was no, not 85. Ghostbusters was 35 years last year. It was 36 years ago, and the new Ghostbusters is coming out this summer. So they've released Ghostbusters action figures for the first time ever. So you've got the original series ones, the realistic looking Bill Murray and Sigourney Weaver and stuff like that, those ones from the original movie. And then they've released a real Ghostbusters set, which is the animated series, which is fantastic, based on the Ghostbusters series. Fantastic animated series. And they're releasing the first ever action figures on those as well. So we got those coming up. So that's the biggest non-Funko stuff. Now, the rest of it is Funko stuff. What was that soda? It was I can't remember. There was a soda that they're releasing. Funko's releasing that's really interesting, but it's like a Lord Voldemort soda or something like that. I don't know. It should be kind of interesting. But the upcoming Funko Pops we have Inuyasha, which is a anime slash manga that's hugely popular. It's finally getting their first batch of pops. They've never had any before. My Hero Academia is releasing their next sets of Funko Pops, so those will be coming up really soon. The U.S. Women's National Championship soccer team that won the World Cup last year, I believe, or 2 years ago, or whatever it was. All their pops are coming out soon. There's a Funko Jaws game. There's one of the things they've been doing is the Funko has created these like board games using with pieces instead of little metal pieces. They use actual mini Funkos. I got a Harry Potter one for Christmas, and there's not Harry Potter one. I got a Batman one for Christmas. So there's a Batman one. There's a Harry Potter one. And now there's a Jaws one coming up. So that's coming up as well. Romy and Michelle's High School Reunion, which is a movie that did not make a lot of money and not a lot of people know about. They actually got Romy and Michelle coming out in Funko Pop form, which I find kind of interesting. Smokey and the Bandit is getting a Funko Pop with Smokey, or rather with the Bandit and in his car as well. That's kind of cool. Stripes is getting Funko Pops. The movie Stripes with Bill Murray is getting a Funko Pop as well. That's kind of cool. Stripes is getting Funko Pops. The movie Stripes with Bill Murray is getting a Funko Pop. Karate Kid is also getting their first Funko Pops as well. And what is that? Wonder Woman 1984, the sequel to Wonder Woman, is coming out this year. Funko Pops for those have been revealed as well, with the cheetah one shadowed out. So if you went to Toy Fair, you probably saw what the cheetah is going to look like. But everyone else, you're going to have to wait. We should probably be seeing a new Wonder Woman trailer coming out soon. Maybe they'll reveal the first shot of Cheetah on that, unless they're going to really want to keep it under wraps for the movie. So we'll see what happens with that. So that's all that I saw. There might be some more information that I might talk about next week, depending on what comes out tomorrow, if any other things come out. But I think that's about all that I saw right now. Batman Ninja, which actually is an interesting, actually I think I might buy that while we're sitting here. Batman Ninja was a interesting DVD that DC put out, and it's, my friend Gary saw it and he really enjoyed it. But it seems to be getting a new life here. Let's see, Batman Ninja's Prime Video. Batman Ninja Blu-ray. There it is. Boom. Oh, wait a second. What's that? Hold on. Boom. That's Japanese edition. But Batman Ninja has been getting some good. Sounds a good one there. Let me see what this one is. This one, free delivery Monday, $11.98 Prime delivery. Let me just make sure that it can work in our region 1, US and Canada only. Yep. So this is it. I will buy now. And got that. So that'll be arriving on Monday. So I picked that up just now. It's based on this Blu-ray, which I just bought. Man, I just bought something on the show. How about that? But now they are thinking of doing in Japan at least, a stage play version of it, and a live-action film is also being considered as well. So we will see what comes of that. But it was kind of a bizarre little story, and anime, in anime format. But my friend Gary said he enjoyed it, so I will find out because I just bought it myself. So I will check this out sometime, and I will give you a review when I get it. Apparently, The Rock attended multiple high schools in 4 years, but people thought that because he looked so much older than he actually was. And they had pictures of him in his high school yearbooks, and he really looks older than he does now. And he came right out and said, yeah, I went to multiple high schools in my 4 years, and everyone I went to, everyone thought that I was a narc because I've been to multiple high schools in 4 years. That's interesting. Oh, Japan to release individual slices of mayo next month. I think I mentioned this on my show, that it was in the works. It is now coming out. It looks like a cheese slice, but it is a mayo slice. Makes your sandwich a whole lot easier. Instead of having to just dip your knife in and spread it yourself, you just open up the mayo sheet, plop it on there like a cheese thing, and build your sandwich on, put that on top of your sandwich, and then close it all up and eat it. And it's going to be just like if you used a knife to do it. So that's kind of a not bad idea. 3,500 occult manuscripts to be digitized and made freely available online. I don't know if that is a feasible thing to do, but it'll give you a shot if you're interested in the occult to read some of these occult manuscripts. Oh, okay. Lava tube is now open in the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, which means, when a volcano erupts, there are what we call lava tubes, which is where the lava comes out and then spurts out of the volcano. Well, these lava tubes you can now walk through, not with lava in them. Obviously, these are either in extinct volcanoes or volcanoes that haven't erupted in a long time, but the lava tubes are still built, and you can still walk through that. So that's kind of interesting that you'll be able to do that now. Has walked around a Moravian neighborhood, which is like a suburban neighborhood in California. And this bear's been walking, doing the same circuit around the last 2 days. So kind of interesting to see the same bear come out over and over again. A Filipino fisherman finds a pearl worth $100 million. $100 million. It's massive too. This pearl is huge. It's like the size of this computer. And $100 million to discover that. Wow, that must be insane. Just say, here you go, $100 million, please. A soccer player has been banned for 5 years for biting an opponent's penis. There's your weird story of the day for people. Okay. I guess in the heat of battle, you do things you don't want to do, or not want to do, but should do, and you still do them. So, whoops. Steven Spielberg's daughter says she's interested in getting in film as well. Adult films. So Steven Spielberg's daughter has decided she wants to become a porn star. No, more power to you, babe. I don't know. Funny thing is, from what I've read, the biggest search now, or the trending search, I guess you could say, on Pornhub right now is Spielberg. So they're trying to find her porn stuff, if she's done anything yet. But she says she's interested in doing porn right now. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll see what happens. Joaquin Phoenix won the Oscar a couple weeks ago for his portrayal of the Joker. And during his speech, his acceptance speech, he was talking about how we need to take care of animals and stop them from getting slaughtered and stuff like that. Well, Joaquin Phoenix put his money where his mouth is, where he rescued a cow and her calf from a slaughterhouse this week. So kudos to you for putting your money where your mouth is. Um, so I don't know what to say about that. In local news, hundreds of gallons of heating oil have been spilled into Baltimore's Inner Harbor. This happened early this morning, Saturday morning. 100 million, I'm sorry, 100 hundreds of gallons of heating oil spilled into a Baltimore's Inner Harbor on Saturday. Now, that's absolutely insane. How do you spill hundreds of gallons of heating oil into the Inner Harbor? And how is that going to affect the ecosystem? Our harbor is already screwed up as it is, but how is that going to mess up our harbor even more? Groundwater, and if it drifts its way down to the Chesapeake Bay and out to the ocean, how is that going to affect things? So hopefully they're going to figure out a way to clean it up and get it taken care of, or somehow dilute it so it doesn't cause any massive ecological issues. But I don't know. Can we see the kitty? Jinxie's in her bed. Yay. But on top of that, another connected story like that, 211 million gallons of sewage spilled into the Fort Lauderdale waterways in Florida. So honestly, I would probably rather have heating oil falling into my water instead of raw sewage. That's just me, though. So I feel bad for Fort Lauderdale now. But at the same time, both of these should not be happening. And both of these are now. But at the same time, both of these should not be happening. And both of these are major ecological issues that need to be taken care of. There's Jinx. Let's see if I can move this down a little bit to keep her in screen with me. There we go. She's right there at the bottom. Boom. Right. Right there at the Jinxie. So, speaking of which, Catwoman is apparently pregnant. Now, we don't know how the story is, but for a while now, I've been telling you that I've been reading Tom King's version of Batman. He started writing Batman with the Rebirth a few years ago, and Rebirth happened in DC Comics. And I loved his story where he delved into the relationship between Catwoman and Batman, going so far as to have them almost get married and then reconnect and realize that they can't live without each other. And then it's going to spin off into a Batman and Catwoman 12-issue series coming out later this year. But there was a panel that was released this week that shows Catwoman in costume with Batman in full costume on top of a roof. Catwoman is in front of Batman. Batman's got his arms around her, and she's got her hands on her belly, which is protruding because she's pregnant. We don't know if that has to do with the Batman Catwoman series, if that's going to be canon, because what's going to be coming up in DC this summer apparently is they've decided that they're going to get back to the generational heroes, which, to be honest, I'm okay with, which means that, back in the 90s when everything was so dark and gloomy, they killed Superman, they broke Batman's back, they made Green Lantern go crazy, and Green Arrow was killed as well. They brought in a new batch of heroes. Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern, which is my favorite Green Lantern. Then I forget who took over for Green Arrow, but it was his son or something like that. Turned out he was gay or something like that. Not that there's a problem with that, but it was another character that was like Green Arrow, but it was younger, and he had his own different characterization. Batman was replaced by Azrael, and then eventually Nightwing took over for some other stuff, and there was his son Damian became Robin, stuff like that. Superman had 4 Supermen show up. There's a Superboy and stuff like that. So there was a whole bunch. And then the Flash died in Crisis in 1986. And Wally West took over as the Flash, and he's the longest running generational superhero. But then, the beginning of this century, there's a new batch of comic writers who grew up with the old school guys who wanted to write them. So they brought back Barry Allen, they brought back Hal Jordan. That's mostly Jeff Johns did both of those, but brought them back. And then Kevin Smith brought back Oliver Queen because he wanted to write Oliver Queen and not this other guy. And so then the generational heroes just sort of went to the background, and they went back to the whole, well, what we got here now. But DC's decided they're gonna go back to the generational stuff, and the rumor right now is that they're going to age appropriate all the characters, and they're going to rewrite their history again. So that means that Batman's going to be replaced, Superman is going to be replaced, Wonder Woman has been around since World War I to match up with the movies. Justice Society's come back, so there's going to be a number of one-shots that are going to detail the new history. It's going to lead into the big story arc that's coming in the summer. So we'll see what happens with that. So we'll see what happens with that. So that could be part of that whole thing. Catwoman's pregnancy being part of that thing. Or another thing they're doing right now is that because their characters have been around for so long, they're doing like special 80-year issues or 100-year issues or whatever. And not 100 years because they're not there yet, but 80th anniversary comics. And it's usually, a $10 comic. That's 80 pages that has multiple stories in it by multiple creative teams. And then there's multiple covers from all 8 decades that the characters have been there. So Wonder Woman's had one, Superman's had one, Batman's had one, Green Lantern's got one coming up soon, Robin has one coming up soon, and this one might be Catwoman one coming up soon as well. So we'll see what this one is. And see if that turns out. But speaking of DC, DC co-publisher Dan Didio was let go yesterday from his job, and there have been a lot of people who are defending him and other people who are glad he's gone, stuff like that. But he's one of the guys that wanted to bring back all these generational people, so this might have been his last hurrah. But he got in trouble about doing something, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on. They're keeping it close to the vest what's going on, so we'll see what happens. DC's going to undergo some changes soon to see what they're going to do with their future. The Friends reunion is a go now. It was rumored a couple weeks ago. It's now a go. Everyone signed on. It's going to be unscripted, so it's only a special, though. It's not a series. It's not a reboot, not a movie, whatever. It's going to be a special. I don't know exactly what the story is going to be about, but it's only going to be available on HBO Max, which is going to be HBO's new streaming service coming out really soon, which is going to be connected to the DC characters and going to do, DC shows, like Disney's doing Marvel shows, and only revealing like the Austin Powers films and Harry Potter films through there and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens with that. So that's a go. There's a Catholic patron saint for pierogies, which I did not know that, but there's a patron saint for everything. So why not a patron saint for pierogies? Supremes are old style generic Oreo cookies that came out many years ago. But Supremes are back in the news now because they've decided that they've teamed up with Oreo and are creating their own Supreme Oreo, which is going to be a red cookie with white cream inside, so the chocolate one, but it's not going to be a strawberry flavor. It might be like a red velvet flavored chocolate, but they're going to be selling for $8. But now people are actually selling them on eBay for $10,000. That's similar to what happened with the Old Bay hot sauce, which is another local story here. When they announced Old Bay hot sauce, someone found an opportunity, was able to buy a whole ton of it, so that there's really not any out anywhere, because I haven't seen it anywhere. And if you want it, you have to go to eBay and pay like $10,000 to get your hot sauce. So we'll see what happens. I just think it's kind of dumb. It's just weird. It's like for a cookie, Supreme cookie, you're going to pay $10,000. I don't think so. This is kind of interesting. A man turned his Alexa into a talking skull. Basically, his Amazon Echo or his Alexa or whatever is a speaker. So instead, what they did was they put a bouncy skull on top of it, so that when she talks, the skull moves like it's talking. So it's Alexa's voice, but it looks like the skull is talking. I think that's really clever. And I'm glad you saw that. An entitled 36-year-old woman. I'm 46. That's 10 years older, or I'm 10 years older than she is. A 36-year-old woman called 911 on her parents for shutting off her cell phone. So apparently, this 36-year-old woman, her parents had been paying for her cell phone service, I guess expecting her to pay them back, which makes perfect sense. And maybe she didn't. So the parents were like, we can't afford doing this. She's got to get her own. So they canceled her service. So instead of saying, oh, maybe I should get my own service and, not be hamstrung by my parents and get away from my parents, she called the police and said, my mommy and daddy shut off my cell phone. 36-year-old woman. I wish this was The Onion, but it's not. I guess that's the other stupid person. So we've been lacking stupid people lately. Well, here's another one. The other one was the guy who bit a dude's penis playing soccer, which I talked about like 10 minutes ago. I think I talked about this one before, but it came through my feed again, so I'll bring it up again. Tesla is revealing dog mode for their car so that you can leave your dog in your car safely. It's some sort of screen that shows that the temperature is cool in the car. The dog is not suffering in the heat, which is a big issue. Please don't shatter my windows to get him out. He's fine. I guess that's okay. I guess that's work. Another thing that I think I mentioned before, but I might not have, I'm just going to do it right now. Beetlejuice, the classic film, is getting its own Monopoly set. So that's, again, everyone's getting Monopoly, so why not? So there's that one as well. Disney World is revealing a new Dole Whip float topped with popping candy and rum. So if you want a nice alcoholic cool treat with some popping candy, absolutely go for it and pick it up. Where is it? There it is. Boom. Scientists eye the Martian underground in search for alien life. This was from space.com, so this isn't some sort of, conspiracy-minded, YouTube channel, which I did see one of those also where the video I watched said that there was a view of another person, the Mars rover caught what they believe a person hanging out, eating their lunch on the surface of Mars. So, and they showed it, and it, again, there's a mental thing where your mind doesn't understand what it's seeing, but it sees shadows or the way things look, and then they determine it's a person or whatever. That's what makes you believe you see, creatures or stuff like that in the clouds, like, oh, that's a cow or that's a bird or whatever, because your mind is sitting there. They can't figure out exactly what it is without adding something to it. So it takes a look at it and it tries to determine, okay, that looks like this, so it must be this. But this is actually from space.com. They are eyeing the Martian underground in search of alien life. Now, that makes a lot of sense because the surface might be too rough for aliens. And underground would probably be better because there has been no sign of any aliens on the surface of Mars, regardless of what you've read or seen on these other YouTube channels. But the one thing they have discovered, and this is not secretive or whatever, NASA has revealed these as well, there are caves and there are lava tubes and there are all kinds of stuff that leads underground, which very easily could be a passageway to an underground Martian city or maybe not a city, but at least an underground Martian civilization that has no need to go above ground and instead can stay underground without being seen, and they have everything they need underground. Makes perfect sense to me. And there was a video that did pop up a few years ago that showed a light coming up from the ground. And a lot of people said about that, it's a reflection of the sun or whatever, glinting off of the rover, and it makes it look like that. But it really looks like that someone turned a light on and it was reflected up for whatever reason. And that could be more proof that there might be an underground civilization on Mars. It makes sense, and it makes sense to investigate it a little bit more. Now I'm going to connect this to another story I think I have over here. Yes, I've been yelling and screaming about this for years. Hell, back when Dylan Knows started, 6 years ago, I used to do a show about the supernatural. We talked about aliens and stuff like that. And in multiple times when we talked about aliens, I was screaming and yelling at everybody is that you do not have to just keep looking for life on other planets that is like ours. You don't have to look at every planet and say, okay, this planet doesn't have oxygen, this planet doesn't have water, so hence it should not have any alien life. That's ridiculous. There could be alien life that evolved to survive on a sulfur atmosphere, or without water, or with a carbon diet, or oxygen or water could kill them. You don't need to have water and oxygen to have alien life on your planet. A good example is on our own planet, where there's underwater jets of hot steam coming from our core. There are these worm creatures that are surviving in an area that does not have oxygen, where it's hot as hell, as hot as the sun as it could be. And these guys are thriving because they are surviving on the heat and other stuff. They eat other stuff. There is no reason to just keep looking. Well, this planet doesn't have oxygen and water. No, there must be no life. No, that's not right. Go that. But now scientists should not be limited to Earth-like life. And I have to say, hallelujah, scientists, thank you for finally bringing out what I've been saying for close to 6 years. And people that know me, my friend Gary's another good example. We've talked about this before. I've told him a million times, this is what, you don't necessarily need to keep looking for oxygen and water. You can look at other stuff as well. And I've been telling everybody under the sun, look for that. I told my daughter, my son, everything is that if you're looking for alien life, it doesn't necessarily have to be like us. We are unique in this world. We survive on oxygen and water, but maybe other aliens don't. Maybe there's an alien out there called Gerza Nose talking about you don't need to just look for carbon and sulfur type stuff on the planets. Look for oxygen and water. You might find life. Gerza Nose. You know very well. So thank you, scientists. And to show how smart scientists are, scientists have also created the Xenobot, which is the first living self-healing robot, which is created by frog stem cells. So this is a robot I guess you can inject into somebody and they can repair stuff for you, and they can replicate themselves so that they can have multiple ones of these attacking issues. Okay. Moonshine hot sauce. There's something else our scientists have created. Really. A moonshine hot sauce just does not sound appetizing to me. I'm not a hot sauce fan, and I'm not a moonshine fan. So put them together, I don't know if I like it too much. Bone Thugs and Harmony, the heavy rap band or urban music band, whatever, from the 90s, maybe early 2000s, has changed their name to Boneless Thugs and Harmony to promote chicken wings, I guess, that they're going to be selling soon. They're calling themselves Boneless Thugs and Harmony. Interesting. Disney has made official Moana 2 is on the way. So we'll be seeing a sequel to Moana. Don't know if it's going to be released in movie theaters or if it's going to be released via Disney Plus or direct to DVD or whatever, like the sequels to Aladdin and Little Mermaid and Mulan. And there was other ones. The Hercules one, no, not Hercules. The Emperor's New Groove had a different storyline come after it. The Hunchback of Notre Dame 2. So they've done a lot of these, quickie, sequels. And I guess now, you could. Well, they did Frozen 2, so conceivably Moana 2 could be just like Frozen 2. And be released in movie theaters in a couple years around Thanksgiving. So we'll see what happens. Or it could be during the summer. I don't know. So we'll see what happens. But I like the original Moana, and Frozen 2 is coming out on Tuesday on DVD. If you do not have it, or Blu-ray, if you have not seen it yet. I've not seen it, and I'm not going to be ashamed to say I'm probably going to swing by Target. I'm going to pick it up the day it comes out, because I tried getting it on Amazon to pre-order it and it's not showing up on Amazon. It's the same with Jojo Rabbit. Amazon was saying, oh, it's not available. It's not available. And then when it actually came out, Jojo Rabbit came out, it was costing like $30 to get because Amazon didn't have it itself. So I ended up just going to Target, bought it for $20. So I'm going to probably do that with Frozen 2. Now I am having Knives Out being delivered to me. I was able to buy that, pre-order that, and get that sent to me. I'll be getting that on Tuesday. That comes out on Tuesday as well. I haven't seen that. So that might be one of my favorite movies of the year as well. So we'll see what happens. So we'll see. But I've heard a good thing about that. Mall Madness, the electronic board game, is going to be updated and re-released in 2020. So I kind of remember Mall Madness a little bit. It was a big game in the 80s, I think, and having it have sound and stuff like that was a big deal in the 80s, since a lot of stuff they were competing with arcade games and they needed to have that sort of thing to get them going. And Mall Madness was one of those that I kind of remember vaguely about. I think they had a credit card machine type of thing that you would go to shops and you could buy stuff or whatever. I'm not exactly sure the premise of the game, but I think that's along those lines. A BYU pole vaulter pierced their scrotum in a horrific accident, and they needed 18 stitches. I mean, pole vault is a dangerous sport anyway, and the fact that this pierced his scrotum, it's ouch. So hopefully he'll get better and won't give up. Animals, finding each other and helping each other and doing stuff, and that's another sign of it. Now, I just saw this. There was another Mars story that I should have talked about when I was going on my Mars spiel. This one is another one of those conspiracy-minded ones, which I just had to bring up as such a stupid thing. So again, using video they found from the rovers or whatever, and they did a close look at it or whatever. Somebody on YouTube believes they found a handgun on Mars. I mean, if you've seen some of the videos that they claim are animals or creatures or other weird things, it's really, really bad. And, it looks, on top of it, but it's like at the same time, you're like, there's no way that this can be it. And at the same time, you can look at it and go, it does look like it, but I know it's not. So just kind of weird. This is kind of interesting. A tomb found under the Roman Forum may be the final resting place of Romulus, the person who founded Rome. So I guess they've been maybe looking for that for a long time and have eventually, have found it recently. So I guess they're going to do some more investigation into it to find out that's what it is. Baby Yoda still coming along doing fine. There's probably at Toy Fair, they probably showed all the Baby Yoda stuff there and people get to see it up close. It's still a crazy thing. Well, now there are now Baby Yoda Chicky Nuggies leggings. Now that became a meme because Baby Yoda doesn't really talk, and it's not really Baby Yoda. It's an alien baby from the same race as Yoda. It's the child, is what they want us to call it. He doesn't talk, but the whole Chicky Nuggie thing was, from a meme to make it look like, that's what kids talk and how they talk. And they want stuff. So they thought that'd be kind of cute to have Baby Yoda say that. So now they have Baby Yoda leggings with him saying Chicky Nuggie. So whatever. Costa Rica seized 5 tons of cocaine going to the Netherlands. It is the biggest cocaine seizure in Costa Rican history. So cheers to you guys. Now, I would assume that they probably destroy it. I hope they don't try to sell it or do other stuff with it or keep it for themselves, but who knows. Speaking of cocaine, well, actually not cocaine, but speaking of snow, this is kind of another name for cocaine. Something is occurring in Maryland that has not happened in 150 years. So far this year in Maryland, it has been bereft of any accumulating snow. There was some snow the other night down to our south. Didn't really accumulate. It was if it was anything, it was a dusting, which isn't an accumulation. Accumulation is an inch and above. This was a slight dusting. Every winter for 150 years, we have had at least one accumulating snowstorm. 1 to 3 inches, 3 to 5, 5 to 12, 12 to 16, 16 to 20, 20 to 24. The most we've had, I think, in this area was the 2 storms that hit back to back. We had a 38 and a 33 hit back to back within about a week. Saying that was in 2010, 2011, 2010. And I remember the plows and stuff like that had plowed the snow all out front that literally it looked like a mound of snow the size of my house was over there. And luckily, after all that snow hit, a warm spell came, as did a lot of rain, and it melted that sucker quickly. But that was the last time we had a big, really, really big snowfall. And then it's been, due to climate change, things have been a little bit off kilter, but up till recently, the storm systems have been following a pattern in Maryland. So for about 5 to 6 years, we get heavy snowfall, accumulating one blizzard, maybe at least. A blizzard can be anywhere between 12 to 40 inches of snow. We get one of those a year, that type of thing. So it seems like we get snow all the time. There was a year, it might have even been 2010. I don't think it was 2010, but it was like maybe 2013, 2014, where it snowed literally every week in winter. Doesn't mean that it's accumulating snow, but there were times where every day, every week from December to March, it snowed during that week at least once. Some was accumulating snow, some was dust. It snowed every week one year. But it goes in cycles. We have the heavy snow, and then there's a period where we don't have a lot of snow. We might get, our biggest storm might be 8 inches or something like that. But we get a couple of them during the winter, but we still get some snow. Knock on wood, because I'm okay with that right now. I think snow's pretty to look at, and when it's falling, it's great. But there's a lot of issues that come with the snow. But regardless, this year, through all of January and through half of February, almost the end of February, I mean, as I said, next Sunday is March 1st. No snow. Again, might have got some slight dust here and there, but nothing substantial has fallen in Maryland in January or most of February this year. And looking at the next 10 days, because we'll have next Sunday's weather on there, as of now, there is no snow in the forecast going to March. The way it looks is tomorrow, sunny 55. Monday, partly sunny, 58. Tuesday, rain, 49. Wednesday, rain, 51. Thursday, windy, 42. Friday, partly sunny, 37. Saturday, partly sunny, 37. Sunday, March 1st, partly sunny, 39. And then Monday, March 2nd, partly sunny, 48. So temperature's going back up again. Now, on that 10-day line, that could all change. It was 51 degrees today in Reisterstown. It is now presently 32 degrees, so it's chilly at night. Our lows are 33, 42, 44, 37, 26, 24, 23. Low of 28 tonight. So we're getting the winter, but we're getting a normal weather winter this year, except without the snow. So if this continues through March, because remember, spring starts in 4 weeks, if you count next week, in 4 weeks. If we do not get any snow in those 4 weeks, and if you go back to December, we had one snow day in December. It was like the 13th or something like that. I think we got an inch, but that was last year, and that was when it was still fall. When winter hit December 21st, 2019, to this point right now, February 22nd, 2 months later, we have had no snow, no accumulating snow. I think we had a couple dustings here and there, but again, it was a light dusting. It didn't mess up the roads, wasn't heavy snow, didn't have to pull out the shovel and do any shoveling, stuff like that. No accumulating snow in Maryland. So again, if nothing happens in the next 4 weeks, it'll be the first winter in 150 years that we do not have snow at all during winter in Maryland. And so once spring hits, if we get a snowstorm after that, that is accumulating, that'll be considered a spring storm and not a winter storm, because winter is December 21st to March 21st. Maybe in this case, the 22nd, because we get that extra day for leap year. So you have an extra day snow to come if you want to get some snow. But right now, as I said, next 10 days, we're fluctuating between 50 and 40. I think the lowest temperature it gets is 37, and that's the next week. So that's kind of a weird thing. And you know what? I'm okay with it. Again, I like snow and stuff like that, but it's crazy. Now, I'm also been predicting once this happened, I'm predicting that, if we had a normal cycle, I would predict that next winter, starting December 22nd of 2020, going through March 21st of 2021, we're going to get some big snow next winter. I'm still predicting that. I have just a feeling that this is the last year for the lower than usual snow totals. Obviously, no snow in this winter so far, but I have a feeling that we're going to get paid back in spades the upcoming winter of 2021. I think we're going to get at least 2 blizzards that is going to cripple us. So we'll see what happens. I'll come back here at this time next year. I will let you know. Haha, I told you I was right. 150 years, no snow. See what happens. Student lost her purse in 1957, discovers it 62 years later, hidden behind a locker. Well, she didn't discover it, but the school discovered it. I guess they were cleaning something up and they pulled one of the lockers aside, and voila, there's the purse that was lost in 1957. They found the woman, they were able to track her down, and they gave it to her. So I guess kind of a cool little story there. Cy Sperling, the Hair Club for Men president, who was on the TV saying, "I'm not just the president of Hair Club for Men, I'm also a client." He passed away this week. Jeanette Dubois, who was on Good Times, she passed away this week as well. I think those are the 2 big deaths that came out this week. Let's see, is there any other one that I'm missing here? I don't think there's any other one that I'm missing. So those are the 2 big deaths that came out this week. And there's a 98-year-old Girl Scout who still goes out and sells Girl Scout cookies. And I don't know if she's still considered Girl Scout, but she wears a Girl Scout uniform and she sells cookies and she's able to do all that stuff. So I don't know if she's her own Girl Scout troop or what, but she's still selling the cookies, and she's 98 years old, and that's kind of cool. There was plans for a Doc Savage movie with The Rock, but now it's been shelved for a Doc Savage TV show. Doc Savage is one of these pulp heroes from the 1940s. It's got like, impervious skin, stuff like that, sort of similar to Luke Cage, sort of similar, but now they're thinking about doing a TV show about that. I'm all for the old pulp heroes coming back. I always like the Shadow. Flash Gordon is always interesting. But Doc Savage has been okay, and DC's done a good job of making these pulp heroes into comics. The Phantom is an interesting character to look into as well, but I don't know if I'm really that interested in it, and I don't know if they are really going to be any interest in that as well. So we'll see what happens. Haagen-Dazs is adding to their boozy ice cream. Their newest flavors are rosé and cream and whiskey hazelnut latte, which sounds dreadful, but that's just me. Do you have trouble sleeping? Is your room not dark enough at night? Do you need like a solid darkness? Are you afraid? I mean, as I said, March 8th is when we turn our clocks ahead an hour, so the sun's going to start coming up at 5 a.m. instead of 6 a.m. So if you get up at 5, or if you try to sleep until 6 a.m., the sun's going to start, and if you're in any way have sunlight coming in and you have trouble sleeping with the light or whatever, you can buy yourself some blackout curtains. Now, blackout curtains are solid, thick black curtains that block out all light. Most hotels have these as well. But now you can get specially designed ones, these blackout curtains that make it seem like that you're living in a New York City penthouse, because the blackens have a drawing on it of what it looks like New York City looks like at night, the buildings and stuff like that. But it's a blackout curtain, so you'll be able to get some sleep. David Tennant is kind of in there as my is tied, I guess, from a favorite Doctor with Eccleston from the first season, season 9, series 9, I should say. But David Tennant is one of the ones that's done it the longest, and he is getting his own Doctor Who Build-A-Bear, which I think is really kind of cool, that you should do all the Doctors in Build-A-Bear format. I think that'd be really cool, not just the most recent ones, but all of them. I think it's a really good idea. Injured Tortoise gets the world's first ever 3D printed shell. Now, I have no idea how 3D printed stuff works. People are saying you could 3D print a gun that'll actually work, but how is that possible with the moving parts and bullets and stuff like that? And in this case, how do you 3D print a tortoise shell? Is it not a real shell? Does it just look like a shell? What's it made out of? How is it created? What do you use? The printer, you have to put, paper into it. So in order to make figurines or tortoise shells or guns or whatever, you need to have some sort of metal or plastic. Does that come with a 3D printer? I'm not exactly sure how it works. So if anybody out there knows how a 3D printer works, please let me know. Leave a message in the comments if you like. That'd be fine. Hasbro to bring back Tiger handheld games and X-Men. I don't know if you remember back in the 90s, there were handheld games sort of similar to your, what did Nintendo do those? When you did the Tetris, the handheld video things. To compete with that, they made handheld games, video games that had X-Men, stuff like that. Well, Tiger was the company that Hasbro called it, and they made a whole bunch of them. They were fairly popular. Well, they're coming back, as I told you earlier, Mall Madness. So, it's great for nostalgia's sake, but we'll see what happens. Freaky Friday the 13th, starring Vince Vaughn, is being produced by Blumhouse. I've talked about Blumhouse a lot. They are a successful, low-budget horror movie production company. And when I saw them, they were going to make Freaky Friday the 13th with Vince Vaughn. I was like, oh, so they're going to branch out from horror and make a kind of a quirky little body swapping storyline. And I thought, ooh, maybe they'll body swap it with Jason Voorhees so that the killer's inside the body of someone else and some innocent is inside the body of Jason Voorhees. I was like, oh, that'd be kind of a cool idea. And I was going to say, that's what they should make it. Then I read the story about what the description is. Young girl switches bodies with a deranged serial killer and discovers she only has 24 hours to get out of it or she will be trapped in it forever. So technically, it's not Jason of Friday the 13th, but a deranged serial killer, and it's a really good idea for a body swapping thing instead of it swapping with your grandfather or your mother or something like that, or neighbor or something like that. That's a really neat idea, and could be interesting. I mean, I'm not the biggest Vince Vaughn fan, but could be interesting. Will Ferrell and Paul Rudd are teaming up for a TV show called The Shrink Next Door. It looks like it's going to be more of a dramatic sort of series, and I don't know which company is doing it. They didn't say Netflix or Hulu or anything like that, so I don't know what it is. It's a limited series, so it's one of these things where it's only going to be like 8 episodes and that's going to be it, or 6 episodes and that's it. They're not going to do a second season or third season or whatever. It's just one story, like Good Omens. They did with Good Omens on Amazon Prime, where they took a book and they separated into 4 episodes. They're going to do something similar like that with this Shrink Next Door, which is based on a true story, a true crime story about a rich neighborhood, and this neighbor of the main character was a hugely popular shrink to celebrity stars and had parties all the time. And then one day when the guy wakes up, nobody is living in that house anymore, and there's no sign that anybody ever lived there. So I don't know if it was something else. So that might be interesting. So we'll see. Whatever. All right, I did that one. Frank's Red Hot is now selling canned Bloody Marys. A Red Hot Bloody Mary might actually not be too bad, and it's canned, so I guess you can just pop it open and just chug it, like that. That might not be too bad. Maybe I'll start doing that. If they do that, maybe I'll do that on my show next time. That'd be great. Speaking of drinking champagne is a key to long life, says a 108-year-old woman. So she said, I drank champagne for 108 years, and look at me, I'm still alive. And that's the funny thing. When you talk to people who have survived for so long, when you get to the oldest living person in the world, 120 years old, 118, 105, whatever, the one thing you always notice about them is that they either smoke a lot, they drink a lot, they drink coffee, they do stuff that everybody says is bad for you and it's going to shorten your life, but they do it and have done it for their whole life, and it somehow is able to keep them going. Now, my great-grandmother lived to be 102, but she was probably bedridden for about 30 of those years and was at my grandmother's house all the time. But she never really drank or smoked or anything like that. She did eat a lot of fatty foods because she's from the Midwest, so a lot of bacon and eggs and stuff like that. So again, cholesterol, maybe there's something to bad stuff that helps you keep alive. But we also know that's not always the case, because people have died from smoking and drinking and stuff like that. So it's kind of that weird. I mean, there's that one person, I think, that they drank nothing but Diet Coke for like a year and they lost like 10 pounds or something like that. So I don't know. Obviously, not eating the junk and just drinking stuff, you're going to lose the weight regardless. But oh well, whatever. Continuing on our alcoholic haze here. This is local news. Antietam Brewery, which is a brewery here in Maryland, right near the Antietam Civil War battleground, national park sort of thing, has created a holiday beer called Sham Hopped. Has shamrocks on it. It's a beer you want to drink for St. Patrick's Day. It's a West Coast style IPA, which uses both US and UK hops. And the cans on the outside have green clovers on it, and it's being pushed for St. Patrick's Day. And once you buy it and you look at the can and notice a 4-leaf clover on the can, if you drive up to the Antietam, which actually Antietam's probably maybe about an hour and a half, 2 hours from here, If you drive up there to the brewery and present the beer can with the 4-leaf clover, they will give you a present. Not sure what it is, but if it's from a brewery, so maybe a glass, maybe a 6-pack, maybe something interesting that's connected, a T-shirt, poster, whatever. That's kind of cool, though, to get something like that. So if go to your local, I doubt anyone out in California you're going to find sham hopped, but it might be interesting to get that, see if a U.S. and UK hops actually have different flavors. I mean, I'm not a beer drinker, so I couldn't tell you. I'm sure the beer drinkers can tell you. Oh yeah, you idiot! Sure they do. They have plenty of stuff that they can do. So we'll see about that. The last story on this page, and I've got a half page left, and then I'm done. I'm a National Football League person, and the NFL is on hiatus now. Super Bowl was a couple weeks ago. It was 3 weeks ago, and so they're just doing regular talk now. Well, the CBA, which is a contract between the players and the owners and stuff like that, is being discussed right now at the owners' meetings. And the owners, the NFL teams, have approved of a new CBA, which includes adding one game to the season. So instead of a 16-game NFL season, you're going to get 17-game season, reducing the 4 preseason games to 3. And in their new thing, changing up the playoffs to add one more team in the NFC and one more team in the AFC to, again, give other cities hope and get build up the suspense for the final weeks of football to see if your team is going to make it to the playoffs, stuff like that. If that was in play of football, to see if your team is going to make it to the playoffs, stuff like that. If that was in place this year, so what's going to do is, so if they're adding another team. So what's going to happen is now only the number 1 seed will get the bye. The number 2 seed will have to play the last seed, which in this case would have been the Pittsburgh Steelers. So the Kansas City Chiefs would have had to play the first week of playoffs against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Granted, it's a city, but they would not get the bye, being the number 2 seed. They would have to play the Pittsburgh Steelers and have the potential possibility that they would lose. So that would add another game to the 2nd seed that they have to win to get to the playoffs. So now instead of 3 games to win, you need to win 4 games. It's not impossible. It's been done before. The Ravens have done it before, twice. But the fact is, it's not fun. And to mix up and it's all done for money, because to mix up the playoffs, so that's another team that gets the playoffs. So wild card weekend would be 3 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday. So instead of 2 and 2, it's 3 and 3. So you add one more game to each day, which adds revenue from TV and bars and stuff like that. And now you have 3 games. You got one probably at 1, 1 at 4, and 1 at 8. That sort of thing, like the regular season goes. So I don't know. We'll wait and see. But I mean, you just, when you start adding more teams, so see that makes it 1, 2, 3, 4. There were 6. That makes it 7 teams. So what's that? That's let's see. There's 32 teams. So 2 divided by 32 is 16. So there's 16 teams per league. The AFC has 16. The NFC has 16. So now you have 7 of those teams, which is just about half of the teams are now in the playoffs. So half the teams are going to the playoffs. The other half are not. But that's, that could be a good sign for, a team that, has played pretty well, but then started getting into sort of a losing streak. But you thought they made the playoffs, gives them another chance for hope to get to another playoff. But then that makes it, well, now I don't want to be the number 2 seed, because then I'm going to have to play the first week as well. And the number 1 seed is the only one. But that it's supposed to make things more, but it's done for money, because you get another game that TV is going to have to air. So that means they can have a game on CBS, Fox, and on ABC or NBC, excuse me. As I said, just like the regular season, and then to add a 17th game. Now, I hate the 4 preseason games; are kind of useless. Adding a game though screws up the formula for how you do your season. There's 16 games presently in the season. You play the three other teams in your division twice. That's 6 games. 1 home, 1 away. So that's 6 games right there. Then you play 1 division in your league. So the AFC South. You play all 4 of them. That's 10 teams. And then you play 1 division in the NFC. The NFC East. For those 4 teams, that's 14 games. And then what's left is, so now there's 4 divisions: the East, South, West, and North. So if you're playing the AFC South, you will, and you finished in first place last year, you will play the first place team in the AFC West and the AFC North. So there's your 16th game schedule. Everything works out good. Now, where are they going to find the 17th game? I don't know. Are they going to try to do like a regional thing? Like, are they going to do like Redskins for the Ravens? Would they play them every year now? I don't know. Because that would be, if the Ravens play the Redskins that would be their 17th game, and it would be the Ravens' 17th game. And it can be a alternating every year where it's going to go home, away, home, away, home, away. Except for the year that you play them, their division, what would you do then? So it just doesn't make sense. I agree with getting rid of one of the preseason games, but adding a 17th game, I'm not so sure about. So the Players Union has to vote on this. They haven't yet. So this isn't official yet unless they did it, and I just didn't see the notes. But see what happens. But I'm not that it's great to send another game, but again, it's like another week of football. It's all done for money. Gets another, but then it makes things off kilter then, because you have 8 away games and 8 home games. So now with this 17th game, are you going to alternate? So 1 year you're going to have 9 home games and 8 away games, and then 1 year you're going to have 9 away games and 8 home. It's kind of sucks. Having 8 and 8 is even. So why don't you just add 2 games, make it an 18-game season. Make it 2 preseason games, add another bye in there, expand the roster, and then you can play, 2 teams from the NFC and 2 teams from the AFC. That rotates in and out. And, so then it's back to being equal, 9 home games, 9 away, and you reduce the number of preseason games, and you add another bye week. So you have 2 bye weeks. So that way you can start the NFL earlier then. You can start the NFL mid-August instead of waiting until September to get their season started, because now that makes it, even though it's 18 games, that makes it 19 weeks of football, and then you have the finals. So I don't know. It's still, things are up to discussion, so we'll see what happens. I just don't know how they're going to make it as even and equal as it is now. So we're on the last leg here, about a half a page of notes, and then we are done. Get myself right down 338, because that is next week's episode. Krispy Kreme, they always seem to be in my show all the time. They're going to have Rick and Morty donuts. I'm not a big fan of Rick and Morty, but people who like Rick and Morty, well, there you go. You can get your Krispy Kreme Rick and Morty donuts. 12 tons of liquid milk chocolate spills on a Polish highway. I guess I could have put that with the spills and other stuff. That's not so bad, I guess, but it just means liquid milk chocolate is not going to get to where it needs to go, and so there's going to be a candy shortage somewhere. Speaking of milk chocolate, Reese's peanut butter cups, my favorite. They released a Reese's coffee creamer a while back. It's fantastic. It's delicious. So I was looking through the grocery store earlier this week, and it is Easter season. You've got your Easter candy up, and the greatest Easter candy is still the Reese's peanut butter eggs. I've had 4 of 6 of a Reese's peanut butter cup, more chocolate, more peanut butter, and it's fantastic, and I love them. There's now a Reese's peanut butter egg coffee creamer, which I would assume would be the regular Reese's coffee creamer, but just added chocolate and added peanut butter. Start drinking it once I finish off with the Dunkin' Donuts Boston Cream coffee creamer, which actually isn't too bad. I like the coffee cake one better, but both of them are pretty good. So go ahead and get that. So go check out your grocery store if you like Reese's peanut butter eggs. Pick that up. I'll let you know about that once I get into that, probably next week. Cherry vanilla Coke is off, but it's actually pretty good. Cherry vanilla Coke is really, really good. So I enjoyed that as well. I'm sorry. The Walking Dead's mid-season premiere is tomorrow, Sunday. I haven't watched The Walking Dead in years, but for fans of the show, the mid-season premiere is tomorrow. So you've got, 7 episodes left till the end of their season. What's interesting is that Walking Dead, despite the fact that the ratings are dropping, is still a cash cow for AMC. They've created The Walking Dead, which has not been nearly getting close to the ratings that Walking Dead has, but they still renew it every year. And now they're going to have a new Walking Dead series with younger cast, like the Next Generation, coming out after this last 7 episodes of Walking Dead. But this mid-season premiere of The Walking Dead is going to be the first of 40 straight weeks of zombie TV shows on AMC. 40 episodes over the remaining year. So that's going to take it pretty much to the end of the year, because right now we're in week, let me see, January's 4 months, 4 weeks. 5, 6, 7, 52, 51, 50, 49, 48, 47, 46. We're about in week 40. There's about 46, 45 weeks left. 45. There's 46 because there's 45 Fridays left till Christmas. 46 weeks left in the year. 40 of those, 40 straight, I should say, from tomorrow till December is going to be Zombie Mania. So there will be a zombie Walking Dead show on every Sunday from now until December. So the way you look at it, I guess, is 7, 8 episodes here. And the new season, the new show starts, 7, 8 episodes there. That's 14, 15 right there. Then Fear the Walking Dead finishes their season, another 7, 8 there. That's like 21 weeks. Then The Walking Dead starts their new season. That's another 7. That's 28. Then the second half of this new season, 7 more episodes. That's 35. And then the Fear the Walking Dead. So it works itself out somehow. I'm just throwing out numbers, but if you think about it, you've got, when they break, the way they break up, the season, 7, 8 episodes per break. So you've got, as I said, your second half of this season of Walking Dead. You've got the first half of the new show. Maybe the first, I guess, Fear the Walking Dead's on a hiatus. So Fear the Walking Dead's first half of their season. Then you can go back to the second part of the new season of the new show. The second part of Fear the Walking Dead. The first, or mix it, or the. So let's just say the first. So you finish up the last half of the season of Walking Dead. Then you have the first half of the new show, the first half of of Fear the Walking Dead, the first half of regular Walking Dead, second half of the new show, second half of Fear the Walking Dead, second half of Walking Dead. Right there. That's 7 times 7 is 49. So there's probably going to be, some breaks in there where that's 9 episodes. Maybe the new series isn't going to be 7 or like 16 episodes. It might only be 10 or something like that. So that might reduce the numbers down. But right then, if you just think about it in just that way, that's 49. So technically this makes sense. So there will be zombie craziness from now until December. So if you're fans of the Walking Dead stuff, you're in for a treat. Here's some animal stuff. Cat disrupts a orchestra concert at a like a symphony hall and stole the show. So you hear about cats getting into football games and baseball games, stuff like that, but never an orchestra. That's kind of interesting. A hungry herd of goats consumed a San Francisco backyard in 6 days. You can buy a collar that swears when your dog barks. Just think about that. Bark, shit, bark, 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 damn. Jinx, that's scary. Jinx passed out. There's a cat video out there now which has the cat cursing, which is hilarious. Is that all animal stuff? No, 14-year-old boy runs into traffic to save a cat that was thrown out of a car by some asshole people, which I absolutely hate, any cruelty to animals. And thankfully, this kid, though, probably should have risked his life, but I'm glad he did to help a helpless animal. That's a good sign. So there's good. Yeah, so that's all the animal ones. Bozo the Clown, the actor who played Bozo the Clown, he died this week also. I forgot to add that to when I did my dead story earlier. Handmade skull soaps is a thing. I guess you can get that on Etsy right now, but they're handmade that look like skulls. You can, they're soap, but they're carved out. They look like skulls. Sonic the Hedgehog movie is doing really well. There's a Sonic Build-A-Bear now. So if you want to get a Sonic Build-A-Bear, you can get that now comes with a gold ring. So Cinderella's Castle Disney World is going to be getting a royal makeover, which is good. I'm presently reading a book about the creation of Disneyland, which is actually fairly fascinating and interesting. And I might get into that tomorrow during my quiet time, or I might look at my comics. I haven't looked at my comics in weeks. The Mississippi River is flooding. It hasn't flooded in a really, really long time. So they've had a deluge of rain down there. So hopefully people be safe, but I've heard about the Mississippi overflowing many, many times, and it's a big disaster, and hopefully it won't be too bad. My Uncle Jimmy lives near the Mississippi, so hopefully he'll be okay when it comes to that. And finally, speaking of rain, scientists have created a new method of extracting electricity from rain droplets. So now you can, instead of solar, now you can collect, or in place of solar, you can extract electricity from the sun, but now you can create a solar rain one as well, so that when it's not sunny out and you don't have to use your reserves, you can get it from the rain as well. That might be an interesting twofer to get in there with. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of episode 337, Home Alone at McDonald's. Next weekend, we get to leap year, or leap day, the 29th, which is my wife's Aunt Liz's 16th birthday, but not really because she's in her 50s, but because of it happening only every 4 years. That's why she's 16 years old. So I guess that makes her 54. So, but she will actually be physically 16 years on 29th. And then it's March 1st, which is going to be the beginning of, there'll be a Friday the 13th in March. My wife's birthday is on March 3rd. We turn our clocks ahead March 8th. First day of spring is March 22nd. My sister's 50th birthday is March 27th. My father-in-law's birthday is March 22nd also. I think my nephew's birthday is in March also. They'll be turning 11. My sister-in-law and brother-in-law are getting a new house, so maybe they'll have it ready in time for their birthday. I don't know, so we'll see. And that's it. That's all I got. So that is it for today. So next week, blue and gold for my son's Cub Scouts. The blue and gold dinner is next Saturday. I probably should not affect me doing my show on Saturday night. So I'll probably end up doing the show on Saturday night as well again. So I'll let you know what's going on next week. Again, not a lot really coming up. Not a lot of interesting stuff coming up this week. So we'll find out if that actually is the case. All right, guys, take care. Bye-bye. Oops. End stream. End.